Hi, I'm Bill Walton, founder of creatingyourbest.com. Welcome again to our broadcast. Thank you for joining us at our home here in the Caribbean. And we're continuing this week on the second part of answering the question, is it God's will for me to succeed? That's a large topic. And so last week, and you can find this archive, you can go back in if you missed that. We answered the beginning of that, which is and a very important part. And we talk about a conversation that I started with a Jewish gentleman at a Christmas banquet of one of the businesses that we own, and just the fascinating conversation that took place that day, where he began to talk about, as a young person, they're taught that they have an insurance policy in their pocket for their success, and it's called the blessing of Abraham. So we unpacked that, and how through Galatians 3:13, the Bible teaches us that Christ became cursed for us, that we might have access to that blessing that now flows onto us as believers. And how does that work into our life? So today we're going to unpack the second part of that conversation, which is in this conversation. As it went forward, he began to talk about what he called the co-creation chapter. The co-creation chapter. Now, this particular chapter is referenced in one of the conversations that Jesus had. Jesus was out teaching, and he called himself the Son of Man. And of course, it was one of the many times that the Pharisees and Sadducees picked up rocks to begin to stone him. And he says, "Why are you stoning me? Is it because of the good works I do?" And they said, "No, it's not that. It's because that you referenced yourself as the Son of Man, the Son of God." And he said, "Doesn't your own word say concerning you that you are God's?" Now, and I know, for as soon as you heard me say that, many of our religious I don't know how to call it, alarms go off, and we start saying, "Oh my gosh, I mean, wait, that's blasphemy, right?" Well, that's what Jesus got in trouble for. That was his point. He said, "You're about to stone me for saying that I'm a son of God, and your own word says that you are God's." Now, this is a fascinating reference, and it references back to the co-creator chapter, which is in Psalms 82, right? And Psalms 82, it starts out by God showing his part in our life and our success, and what is our part. All right. Now, what does he say? He says, "I stand in the congregation of the mighty, and I judge among the gods." Now, what did Jesus just say? God calls us. And if you read farther down into that chapter, there's not very many verses, but farther down a few verses, God says about you and about me, you are God's, right? And Jesus referred back to this, right? Now, many of you once again, "Oh my gosh, that's blasphemous." Well, let's break down the definition of that word God, right? The Hebrew word for God here is the Hebrew word Elohim, right? Just say that. We just say Elohim, right? It's a word that explains the creator God, right? Creator. Okay, this is what's so critical of why this gentleman called this the co-creator chapter. In the beginning, Genesis 1, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. It is the Hebrew word Elohim. Now, so what is he saying when he says you are gods? He's saying you are creators. Let me tell you something that's so important for you to understand, and let it soak into your heart. Now, in our book, Creating Your Best Life, we go into detail on these particular items. We talk about how the co-creator verse can come alive in your life and the how-tos of it. But it starts once again by accepting, who has God made you to be? Who has God made me to be? And if God says you're a creator, the question should be, well, how do I create? Now, once again, our question is it God's will for me to succeed? And the answer is yes. But it brings the question, how do I operate that in my life? Does God just rain down success? Is it just come to me? One day it shows up in a UPS package or an Amazon package. Here's success, and here's all the money you need and all of that. Is that the way it works? Or is there a responsibility that falls on you, that falls on me, that we have to be aware of, that we have to know about, so that we can begin the co creation, right? He says that he is the God of gods. He is the Lord of lords. Well, who's he talking about? He's the King of kings. Who are the kings he's talking about? Who are the gods he's talking about? It's the creators that are you, that are me, and our responsibility in co-creating our life. Too many of us have said, okay, well, if it's God's will, it happens. Read Psalms 82. He says, I stand in the congregation of the mighty. That's you. I judge among the gods. That's you. And then he goes on to say, how long will you allow things to happen? Wait. We're saying, God, how long before you give me this, give me that? No. The co-creator chapter brings out there are the items God is responsible for in our success, and there are items that we are responsible for. And as we learn those together in creating your best life and creating your best.com, as we learn those together, you are going to be able to implement those into your everyday life so that you can pick up your role of being a creator so that you can learn how to create your best life.